being delusional about it, and you run into people in wrestling all the time who are kind of delusional because they live in I don't want to say a made-up world, but you know what I mean, a world that's not exactly the real world. And some people get lost in the sauce. I don't know. Safety is one thing I preach to. Just not only for longevity, and again, being a student of old school wrestling, it's like all these guys are hitting their prime in their 40s, and now for the most part, people are retired by their 40s.
Yeah.
The life of the old wrestler used to be a lot longer, and that's because they didn't take it risk. But you never realized. But they weren't falling off ladders. They weren't doing stunts off the top rope to the floor for the most part. So it kind of sometimes goes under the radar with that. But I see the point where the business has evolved, and sometimes you got to kind of do that stuff. So, like, I guess pick your spot is always something that I try to tell people, along with safety. You know, protect yourself at all times, protect your opponent, and pick your spot if you're going to do something a little crazy. Like, it doesn't need to be at a mom and pop in front of 10 people. It just doesn't. If it's something that has some notoriety or something where you're making some good money, maybe take a chance. But you have to protect yourself because that's your meal ticket, right? That's the product you're selling. And if you don't have your body, you know, your body's only going. You have so many bumps on your bump card. You can do things to try to add them and prolong it, but at some point, everybody's gives out. And I never want to be that guy who's, you see, still getting booked on shows because people are friends with him, but everybody knows in the audience and in the back that he shouldn't do wrestling anymore. You never want to.
I'm glad that you have that thought process because, you know, there are guys that, and, you know, I imagine there's still girls out there doing the same thing where you are, you know, you're in it, and so you look at them as a peer, and you're like, you know, I want to say, hey, why are you still doing this? But at the same time, they need a paycheck too, and they haven't figured out either they weren't good with their money, you know, when they're coming up, or it just, you know, they just never thought, oh, I need a day job also that will help, you know, continue this, you know, now what is kind of a hobby because you're on your way out of it. But, you know, the longevity aspect of it is super huge because think about the late 90s, you know, Vince was running the, you know, the huckster and the nacho man, calling them geriatrics, but they were roughly the same age that you have AJ Styles now or Edge now, or even, you know, Christian's still doing what he's doing. Sting is in his 60s, which is absolutely crazy, and he's jumping off whatever the highest thing that, you know, they'll allow him to jump off of. But, you know, it's the longevity aspect of the pro wrestling game. And like you said, you have to take care of your body because your body, unless you are a manager and you can, you know, talk people into a building, then, you know, you've got to be able to be, you know, back it up inside the ring. So for you guys and girls, like you said, that's your meal ticket. You've got to keep that thing in tip-top shape.
Yeah, and I'm guilty for many years, and you know, don't get me wrong, I know I'm nothing to look at right now, but I'm guilty of many years for not really body. You know, I was never been a big gym rat or a big workout guy, and over the past few years, just getting some of this weight off me, and learning how to work out right. I always worked out like I was still playing football. You know, I trained 5 lifts forever. And just lifted as heavy as I could and ate what I wanted, just like when I was playing football, because that's, you know, I was an offensive lineman. That's what I did. You get big, you get strong. You get big, you get strong. And then you get hurt, and, well, then you can't lift, but you still eat the same. And that, you know, that weight goes on quick. And at one point I was 320 pounds, and I hurt bad after everything. And, you know, I'd do a round of yoga here and there, and I'd feel like, I feel a little better. But my lower back and my neck and everything were just torturous, my knees. And then finally, at the tail end of 2020, I started taking my health, you know, not for granted. And, you know, I've dropped from my height 80 pounds and I feel better than I have in forever. I still got my, there's 17 years of abuse on this body, so I've still got my aches and pains, but I feel light years better than I probably have in the past decade.
Congratulations, because 80 pounds is a lot of weight, and, I imagine your body feels so much better and your joints are far more relieved than they were, when you were 80 pounds heavier.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to work out, right? And I appreciate that. But, yeah, you have to – I never wanted to be that guy who, did lightweight, high reps because I was like, oh, you're not getting anything. You can still get stronger that way. But it's just this macho mindset that, a lot of guys have to, I don't know, I guess get over. But it's either that or hurt all the time. And I'm pretty good about weighing out options, and I like the not hurting all the time.
That one normally does sound a lot better than actually being in pain on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, the end of 2020, I was going to hang it up. I had a neck injury at the end of 19. I came back at the beginning of 20, had 2 matches, and then COVID shut the world down.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought it was a sign. And then I just happened to be, I started losing weight for my health, and I had a new wife and I was doing it for my family. But the boots were legitimately packed up. And then one day I still like training in the ring. That's the most fun cardio. That was way more fun than running. So I would go to my buddy's wrestling school and help out and run drills and stuff like that. And one day I got a call from a New Jersey area code, and I don't know anybody in New Jersey, so I ignored it. Let's get New Jersey area code saying, hey, this is Pat Kenny, talent relations for the NWA, and he'd like to talk to you about coming in. And I was like, oh, I better call this back.
Yeah. That is definitely a number I need to keep in my phone now.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a thing. I called my wife and I go, hey, get the boots out of the closet. I think I'm not quite done yet.
What were you gonna do?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was something I was really kind of fighting with myself with, because I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, and it's been my outlet. I've struggled with mental health and stuff all my life too, so this has been my outlet in numerous ways. So I was actually kind of scared, if we're being honest, because I don't want to say I put so much in this like I sacrificed. I think once I got in my 30s, the big sacrifice years were, I don't want to say done, but I wasn't sleeping in cars and all that anymore to try to make pounds. I wasn't living. I got a good job, and this was kind of more of a part-time thing, but it was still something I was putting my all into. So I couldn't see life without it. I wasn't at that. A lot of guys when they quit out of anger, so they're at that point like, I don't want to see it again. And I was never angry. But I'd never thought the business would come back, because the way they had talked about COVID, it was going to be, they didn't know how long it was going to be around, how serious it was going to be. I thought live entertainment like that was going to be dead.
Uh-huh.
And then come to find out we were able to get stuff under control and the business came back. But for a while it was looking real sketchy. And when you were just coming back from what you thought was, at one point, when at the height of my neck injury, I was having numbness all the way down my right arm.
Whoa.
And I just started having Paul Orndorff visions, you know what I mean? And I didn't want that. And so I thought, after coming back from that, and then the world shutting down, I did literally look at it as a sign. And I'm not normally a sign guy, but it's like, what else am I supposed to think? I finally come back. I start having fun again, and the world shuts down. Maybe this isn't meant for me.
Yeah. If you don't mind, can we go into the mental health aspect of that?
Yeah. No, I've never been worried about shying away from that. I've been been diagnosed with clinical depression and anxiety. I think I got diagnosed in 12 or 13. I've kind of had the feelings all my life, but never. It was always just kind of like, oh, you're down, or you're kind of paranoid, or whatever. But and I've been on and off medications. I don't like taking medications.
Yeah.
But I also don't like going into crazy manic depressive modes. I will say cleaning up my diet and exercising helps a lot.
It really does. I think a lot of people don't think about that aspect of it either, because whatever you're putting in your body does affect how your body is going to be running. And doing anything physical, whether even if you're just walking outside for a while, it's great to get your body up moving like that, and you're releasing the dopamines that your body needs on a regular basis that your ancestors had, because they're not staring at the screens on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, and getting real sunlight. Like I've been trying to make that a priority. Is no matter what, I get sunlight every day. I supplement with vitamin D. Here recently, since I've been working out, and I do feel like my depression and anxiety have been a bit more under control. I've actually got with my doctor about halving my dosage, which is good.
That's awesome.
But I've gone back and forth on being on medicine, because some of that stuff makes you a zombie, and that life's not worth living either.
I've heard that.
And it's just been kind of a battle I fought my entire life, but I don't. When I say I've never been scared to be public about it, I do try to avoid posting anytime I'm feeling depressed on social media, the woe is me stuff. But I've never been secretive about having it. Some people are ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it. It runs in my family. I found out dad was sick, that battled it for years. So, it doesn't, and I am glad that nowadays it doesn't seem to have the stigma it used to have. I feel like when I was growing up, it just had some kind of stigma to it that I think finally washing away.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you are able to, like you say, you're not shy about talking about it. And I do think more people, especially men, need to be able to feel comfortable about talking about these things, because, we're all built differently. We're all wired differently. And, just because, you might be one of those people that every day is great, or you see the greatness in every day, or, you don't get sad or whatever. There are people that are the exact opposite, where every day for them is a struggle, first off, to get out of bed, find a reason to get out of bed, and then also find a reason to continue through the day. Like that's a big struggle for a lot of people. And, I think the more we are open to talking about it and, allowing the conversation to be had on a regular basis for some people, that hopefully we start seeing trends of suicide and self-harm go down, because of the fact that they can either just go online and maybe whatever their, subreddit of choice, or, Instagram or whatever social media that does help their situation, or even just calling a friend or a family member and just being like, hey, I'm not having a good day today. And they're like, well, let's talk about it. That I think that's really amazing that you allow yourself to be open like that, because I know there's a lot of people that are not, they don't allow themselves to be open, and they're like, no, I got it. I can do it myself.
Yeah. And I think it took, I lost a friend, fellow wrestler named Shane Smalls. I lost him to suicide. And I don't want to say he never reached out, but when he reached out, he never kind of out and said what he was dealing with. And just one day he wasn't there anymore. And, it would just be normal, hey, I'm having a bad day. Here's what's going on. And a lot of times that's all it needs. Um,